Hi, it's me, Teacher Mike from phuketpals.org. Welcome back to another video about the extended response. Now, in this video, we're going to be thinking about do's and don'ts for the GED RLA extended response. This is a part of the test, part of the RLA test that is getting a lot of attention, especially with our students here at Phuket Pals, is many seem rather baffled by what they have to do and how to go about it. What I want today is just kind of show you a few things not to do and what to do so you can push your score upwards. So we'll start with what not to do here. We'll start with the don'ts. Your extended response should not include personal information. Now, most students know they need to be aiming for around 450 to 500 words minimum for this. This kind of leads many to start kind of waffling, rambling a little bit, and I've seen some students recently drift into kind of personal information, which is completely irrelevant to the essay. The folks at GED Testing Service and their lovely robot, their algorithms, they don't want to know your opinion based on anything. They don't want you to elaborate or develop ideas, that are not linked to the question prompt itself. So just make sure, if you find yourself going off in a kind of rambly direction, such as this, just make sure you delete it all and stick to what the task is asking you to do. Another thing not to do is your response should not be in the first person. Okay, so please stay away from that. Your response shouldn't simply summarize the arguments in the 2 paragraphs. This is probably the biggest don't. So many students just kind of bullet point almost the arguments that the writers of the articles make. Okay, so Article 1, they might say something like the writer of Article 1 makes his first. The writer of Article 1 supports his thesis firstly by saying da 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 da. The second thing he says is da 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 da. The third thing he says is da 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 da. The fourth thing is this, that, and then they go on to do the same thing for Article 2. This is not what the examiners are looking for. You have to analyze and pick out these arguments that the writers has, but you also have to evaluate them and decide which are stronger than the others. Okay, and then you have to make comparisons between them in your body paragraphs as well. So just make sure you don't just simply summarize the arguments, because you'll get very little points. Now, what should you do? Moving on to what you really should do in this test. These are expectations from GED Testing Service. When you write, you should determine which position presented in the passage is better supported by evidence from the passage. Okay, so that's just like what we're saying before. You have to evaluate the data that you've picked out, and you have to make sure you have a really good idea of what that better supported evidence is and why you feel it is better supported. And you need to write about that in your bodies and make comparisons. If you say that this piece of evidence A, maybe a piece of statistical data is better from Article A. However, because this statistic comes from maybe a very respected scientific institute, whereas a piece of statistical data from passage B might be from a high school student or some high school study or something like that. So obviously the statistical evidence from paragraph B or from paragraph A will be the stronger one, because it has more backing, it has more authority, more validity than the piece from passage B. Okay, next, explain why the position you chose is the better supported one. Okay, we touched upon that in the last video. Okay, so why is, if you're saying the writer in passage A has the better supported article, why is that? Is it because he uses why are his arguments stronger? What's stronger about them? Is it that he is an authority on the subject? Is it that he uses direct quotations from other experts to back up his argument? Or does he use statistics from very, very reliable sources to back up his arguments? What is it about his argument that makes it better supported? There must be reasons why. And you have to get that into your introduction. You'll get that into your final sentence, into your thesis statement of your introduction. Say why the article is better supported. If you don't, you will not be able to get the higher points in the ER. Next one, remember the better supported position is not necessarily the position you agree with. Now, we touched upon this over here. Okay, so don't, if let's say article B, you really disagree with the opinion or with the evidence given by the writer. Let's say it was something like a guy who was presenting the benefits of medical marijuana or something like that, and maybe you're really against marijuana in general. Well, it would be very silly to go against him just based on your personal opinion of what he's talking about. So leave your opinions, leave your kind of biases, let's call them, at home for the ER and stick to the cold hard evidence. Okay, analyze, pick out your evidence, evaluate that evidence, and if it's better supported than the other article, then you have to go with that, whether you disagree with the ideas or not. Next, defend your assertions with multiple pieces of evidence from the passage. Okay, so don't just use one piece of evidence from the passage, use multiple ones. And you need to kind of group that evidence together at the planning stage and make sure you've got a few pieces of evidence that you can, quotations you can take out which support what you're trying to say. Build your main points thoroughly. Okay, so make sure you develop your points. As we said before, don't just list quotes that you think are good arguments. You have to develop them, build them up, link them back to your thesis. It's all about developing these ideas and presenting them in a logical and orderly way. Okay, now something I didn't add in here, but I will add it now, is about making comparisons. Okay, you have to make in your body paragraphs. You have to, if you say that in passage A, the writer uses a strong argument of whatever it is, then you'll say, however, in paragraph B, the argument is not as strong because the writer does something else. Okay, so make comparisons between the paragraphs. This will strengthen your thesis statement and give you a much stronger answer. It'll give you a chance to get much higher points in the ER. Okay, so that's about it from this video. If you have any questions, again, just leave them below and I will answer you in good time. Okay, so hope it helped you. I'm Teacher Mike from phuketpals.org. Have a good day. See ya.